Hey guys, so today we're going to be making homemade pasta. Now this can be really intimidating for a lot of home cooks, what kind of flour to use, whether dried or fresh is better. But if you know what goes into it and you know how to do it, it's actually really simple. My name is Jay and this is Broil LA. Now before we even get started on the pasta, we're going to make our basil oil. So I'm going to take half a cup of olive oil and a bunch of basil and just blend it. So this is totally optional. If you don't feel like making it, just use regular olive oil instead. It'll just add a little bit more flavor to the dish. For the pasta, I'm actually going to use a stand mixer instead of doing it by hand. It'll end up just being easier. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to take a paper towel with some olive oil on it, and I'm going to line the bowl of the mixer as well as the blade with that oil, just to kind of make it non-stick. So the first thing we're going to add to our mixer is 2 eggs, as well as a tablespoon of our basil oil. Now we're good to lower the mixer, and we'll start it off on the lowest setting first. So while these eggs are beating, I'm going to gradually add 1 full cup of all-purpose flour, and slowly increase the mixer speed up to medium. Once everything seems well incorporated and put together, what we're going to do is we're going to take our surface, we're going to put a little bit of flour on it, and then we're going to take our dough out of the mixer and onto our floured surface. Now if it seems a little sticky, that's fine. We're just going to add a little bit more flour and start kneading it together until it becomes a nice shaped disc. So I'm going to knead this together by folding the dough from the outside and then pushing up from the center. Now you know this is done when it's smooth and not as sticky. Now we're going to put a little bit more flour on the outside of our dough, and then we're going to cover it with a damp paper towel and let it rest for 15 minutes. Now you might have heard of the term semolina before. So this is semolina flour. It's a specialty flour used for making pasta. Now I actually tried using different ratios of semolina and all-purpose flour using this recipe, and honestly I found that no matter how much semolina or all-purpose you used, there wasn't a huge taste difference. So save yourself the money and stick to all-purpose flour. So while the pasta is resting, I'm going to start on a really quick sauce to go with it. So to a saucepan, I'm going to add a couple tablespoons of olive oil, and after that heats up, I'm going to add 2 to 3 crushed cloves of garlic. Once you can start smelling the garlic and becomes fragrant, we're going to actually take out the garlic and put in 10 ounces of cherry tomatoes. So after about a minute or so, I'm going to start crushing these tomatoes with a fork. At this point, I'm going to add about a pinch of salt, some fresh cracked black pepper, and a little bit of sugar or agave nectar. So once this gets to like a really thick pizza sauce consistency, we're going to turn off the heat and then pull it aside until our pasta is ready. So our pasta is now rested and ready to be rolled out. So we're going to clear our area and re-flour the surface. Now, although I used all-purpose flour for the actual pasta recipe, I'm going to use semolina while rolling it out. If you don't already have semolina flour, definitely use all-purpose. I just already have it on hand. What you want to do is you want to press down on your dough and then flour it a little more. Then flip it over, press it out a little bit more, add more flour. You definitely want to be generous with the flour here. Once you get it to about a 1/4 inch thick, we're going to start rolling it out. Now you want to roll this out until it gets to about a 1/16 of an inch thick. You should almost be able to see through it. Now as I said earlier, you need to be generous with the flour here. You really don't want this sticking to your surface. So make sure to flip this often and re-flour each side as you go along. All right, so this is our finished pasta dough. I mean, come on, it looks pretty good. So now we just need to cut this down into noodles. So at this point, it's once again really important that you use a lot of flour. So I'm gonna reflour this entire piece of pasta, and then I'm gonna fold this in half, and then even more flour here, fold it in half again, and we're going to cut our dough into 1/4-inch strips. Now hopefully you floured this well enough when you were folding it in half, so you should be able to fluffen this up so that the individual noodles come out. All right, so I already have a pot of boiling water going, and to that I'm gonna add a good amount of salt, as well as some olive oil, and we're good to go ahead and throw in our pasta. Now this pasta is going to cook really fast, so make sure you keep an eye on it. All right, so while our pasta is cooking, I'm actually going to put the heat back onto our sauce at medium-low. Now I did try this recipe by drying the pasta overnight before cooking it, but I found that although it did look better after cooking the pasta, there was so much extra time in drying it, and it was a bigger hassle for not a big taste difference. And the dried pasta was just so brittle. See? So after about 3 to 4 minutes, our pasta will be just about done. So what we're gonna do is take our pasta out of the water and straight into our sauce. We're also gonna put in a little bit of our pasta water, as well as the juice of half of a lemon, some chopped parsley, and a little bit of Parmesan cheese. So we're gonna give this a quick taste. I think we're there, so we're gonna turn the heat off, and we're gonna start plating. So I'm going to take some of our pasta and put it on the plate, and then what I'm gonna do is take some burrata cheese and just rip up a few pieces and put it on top. And then a couple basil leaves. And then since we already have it, just a drizzle of our basil oil. All right, so we'll give this a taste test. Everything is so fresh and vibrant, and you can tell that the pasta is handmade. You know, sometimes making things by hand can seem intimidating to some people, but if you just try it once, you'll find that it's a lot easier than you think it is. My name is Jay, and this is Boreal LA. If you like this recipe, make sure to give us a big thumbs up and click this button to subscribe to our channel.